And I am live again, just had to stop momentarily to help them get the grid to put the race start in. So we are expected to take off any moment now. Right, I've been absolutely on and off all around the shipwreck here. So let's see what we can do. I'm expecting to start the session soon. I've completely lost my voice. You're gonna have to absolutely grasp with me. Normally this would happen at the end of the race, so I've completely lost my voice. Maybe I've been shouting too much since there's already been so much action, but surely we're gonna see some more. We haven't even had the race start yet, so let's see what could happen. We've got still all 20 drivers on the lobby. Yes, we do. We've got all 20 drivers. So let's see what will happen. We're debating about 35 or 50%. I'm not quite sure yet myself what is happening. Maybe I'm just debating with myself. I don't quite know yet. But, you know, I've already talked so much about this track. I mean, it's in a mountainous region. The nearest city on my geographical mind is Klagenfurt, I believe. Or Zeltweg. I mean, Zeltweg is not really a city, but, you know, it's kind of in the mountains. Of course, you know, Austria is the most mountainous track on the circuit. As well as maybe Monaco, but that's its own thing, so. And yes, we are starting. Here we go. And that is the key to start. Maybe I should have done it 20 seconds later, but... And we have got sunshine forecast. I can see that little sunshine symbol popping across social play above Austria. Alright, let's see. We're gonna see some action. I've already talked you through that. You probably had enough of me talking and you just want the race start. I'm completely with you, so let's see. Oh yeah, the dangerous pit lane, of course. Did I mention that yet? I don't think I have. It's a very dangerous pit lane. You have drivers approaching turn 9 through turn 10 absolutely blindly through the pit lane. Do we still have a 2-minute break? The formation lap is not on. And I'm just like you, I just want to get this race started and over with. Maybe I can do as good of a job on the first lap as I did previously, so let's see what will happen. We've got a 2-minute break in place still, although I believe everyone's still got their setups, so. And yes, we've got 5 red lights to start the Austrian Grand Prix for T2. We've got equal getaways for both top 2 drivers. Let's see what they will do into turn 1. We've got the McLaren and Ferrari side by side. The McLaren on the inside forces the Ferrari out wide, but the Ferrari sticks it on the outside. And we've got all drivers coming up to turn 3 now. We've got the McLaren and Aston Martin fighting, but that will be stopped for a virtual safety car caused by a Williams going off at the exit of turn 1. And what has happened there, I'm not quite sure. And we have got the end of the virtual safety car as we see GL Toxic get an amazing getaway. And could they be stopped? We've got Josh down the inside of the McLaren into turn 9, and they will pull that move off, I'm sorry, as we've got the Ferrari and Alfa Romeo riding quick. It's Ferrari versus Ferrari engine. What could the Alfa Romeo do to defend against the upcoming Ferrari? We've got both McLarens fighting it out. As we see a side-by-side into turn 1, the Alfa Romeo is forced to subside back into P8. We've got the Aston Martin, that brings them into the fight. What could they do? On the run-up into turn 3, we've got the Alfa Romeo trying their luck down the inside, pulling a move off into P7 as they go a bit wide. And that allows the Aston Martin to get a good getaway. And they will have an amazing slipstream on the Alfa Romeo, who goes defensive down the inside as we see the McLaren and Aston Martin ahead, fighting each other for P4. We've got Oliver coming back at Josh into Aston Martin. What could they do? They've been fighting each other for a lap now, but behind them we have the Aston Martin still defending against the Alfa Romeo. Nothing has changed there as of yet, but we've got GP2 engine in the Ferrari against their customer team, Alfa Romeo. We've got Riley into Alfa Romeo. What could they do? We've got the second DRS straight burst. That will matter now, in fact, as we've got DRS enabled this lap. But will they have it now? Yes, they do have DRS, and that will help them make a move down the inside, being forced out wide through turn 2. The Ferrari is, but we've got the Ferrari eventually getting past and slowly making that move stiff. But down the rest of the grid we have a lot of fighting ongoing for P8, I believe, as we've got Ferrari versus Ferrari engine, La Haas versus the Ferrari. La Haas will outbrake the Ferrari, forcing them out wide and onto the curb, the outside curb, but we've got the Aston Martin and McLaren still fighting each other. We've got Joshua making a move past, the McLaren is forced to back off, but this allows their teammate, Fructose, to go past the Aston Martin down the inside of turn 9. We've seen Josh do that, but could they come back now? They're going to have DRS, they're going to be faster. Fructose is not letting them get a slipstream. And now what exit could they get? Down into turn 2 and 3. Josh now riding a bit too far away from the McLaren, and this allows Oliver Wolf to close in, but not making a move on Josh just yet. But we've got the McLaren of Oliver Wolf with an amazing getaway from turn 3 down to turn 4 now. We've got downhill all the way to turn 4. And it will remain the way it is at the end of lap 3. into lap 5 sorely. We've got I'm an Alpha riding on board closely. They've took the outside line. That hasn't paid off through turn 7. Now we've got I'm an Alpha closing up to the back of the Alpine, who is also fighting the Ferrari ahead. So that is a fight and a half. But right now we've got a fight for P2 evaluation, as we've got GL Toxic pulling away from the rest of the grid. We've got I'm an Alpha closing up to the back of the Alpine. But we've got all of this piling onto the Haas in front as the Ferrari runs wide and nearly loses it at the exit of turn 1. But they've got to move off the Mercedes off. But they've got Samuel Drake Lee on the outside. The Ferrari will make a lunge down the inside of the Haas, and they force the Haas out wide, and both of them lose positions because of it, and the Haas absolutely forces their car into the side of the Ferrari, and we have got a safety car because of it. The Haas clearly not happy with the overtake from the Ferrari. They were forced out wide from a lunge for the Ferrari into turn 3. They were forced out wide, and they clearly weren't happy with this as they run Spilex off the road. And that is clearly quite a rage move, and honestly, Daily Harold should be banned for that. That was a very dangerous move, and that is retaliation from the house driver. As they coming into the pits now, we've got some people coming into the pits. It looks like it's a Haas. Well, now, yes, we see Jonas now coming into the pit. And we've got 22 people watching, and I just want to take this opportunity during the safety car, when things are slow, to say thank you so much for 22 people. I would have never expected this going into commentary. It's my first month, I mean. And honestly, I'm completely soft for words, and honestly, thank you so much. I know I'm streaming on the main channel, but it cannot just express enough. I just cannot express enough how grateful I am for all those 22 people watching the stream, and you don't even have to. I mean, watch it to keep up, and I'm not quite sure myself, but honestly, it could not be more for me, so anyway, we've got the safety car. It will stay for lap 7 and lead us through lap 7. We've got no one else coming into pit lane as of yet. We've got the medium tyres still lasting, and I will get the tyre up. No, we will do position changes first, as we see GT2 engine gaining a position over the Alfa Romeo. Bigger beneficer is King Cobra moving up 6 positions, so they have had a great first 6 laps until the safety car. If they keep that form up, we've got the safety car restart, and mine will lead you through that. It will come in this lap. And safety car is in this lap. We've got most people opting to stay out, but the ones on newer tyres are DLE Harold and Jonas in the Red Bull and Haas respectively. So when will DL Toxic lead to grid away? Are they going to leave it late? They're going to have dirty air through the braking zone of turn 9 and 10. Those drivers behind the Red Bull. Change the UI here? Yes, I have changed it now. And let's see. The Ferrari edging closer and closer to the Red Bull's rear wing. The Red Bull is leaving it late. But yes, they will go now. But the Ferrari has got an amazing getaway. And they'll have a slipstream down the pit straight. And what could they do going into turn 1? Behind them we have chaos emerging. As we've got Samuel Drakely making a mark past I'm an Alpha up to P9 now. We've got Joss now on the inside of the McLaren, moving up to P4. They've got a good getaway from turn 1. Could they keep it? We've got the McLaren making a move down the inside of Aston Martin. Could they remain it? They've got a good getaway. Oliver Wolf, what could they do? Down the Aston Martin into turn 4. They're going to brake late, but not late enough to make a move past as they try and look for a gap down the outside. Right, what could happen here? We've got Oliver Wolf following the tail of Aston Martin very closely here. We've got the AlphaTauri and the Alfa Romeo fighting each other very viciously here through turn 8 and 9 now. And the AlphaTauri will try and make a move past, but we have got Oliver Wolf right now riding along with the tail of the Aston Martin quite nicely here. And could they just pull out to make a move? No, they can't. They'll go across turn 1 nicely, getting them a good getaway for the second DRS, and of course that does not matter yet as DRS is not enabled. But do they even need DRS? They're gonna stick behind the Aston Martin. And being pressured from their teammate behind, that must not be easy, but they've got a good getaway from turn 3 down to turn 4. They're trying to make a move. They'll be forced out wide by Joss, but Joss tries to switch back, but not enough tyre grip. A bit of wheel spin out of turn 4, not making a move for Joss as Oliver Wolf looks to cement that P4 spot for now. And we've got Turkey in the Mercedes. What has happened to them? It looks like a collision between the Mercedes and AlphaTauri through turn 7 as both of them have spun out, and we have yellow flags but no safety car as we have DRS enabled this lap. That will give a helping hand to GP2 Engine looking to take P1. They've got equal getaways from turn 1, but now the uphill climb to turn 3 and 2. Let's see what would happen. They're looking down the inside and they brake late and they go into the back of the Red Bull. And they spin the Red Bull out at turn 3. The Red Bull braking a bit too early. And that allows the GP2 Engine to go into the back of the Red Bull. But we've got Riley now riding closely and taking the inside line, forcing the AlphaTauri. No, the Ferrari out wide, I'm sorry. We've got the Ferrari now taking the inside line. They kept it round the outside and they will keep that P1 spot. And GL Toxic now falls to P7. They've been punted, but they're trying to make a move past, and they could start here, overtaking the McLaren. They're going to try a dive bomb down the inside of turn 9. No, they won't. They ran a bit wide through turn 9, in fact. Oh, and they get a Bill Wilson through turn 10. And that is not the best getaway, but someone who will have a good chance to take the lead is Riley into Alfa Romeo. They've got DRS and now only 3/10 away and closing. What do they do? Around turn 2 they go. The Ferrari not fighting this one as the Alfa Romeo takes the inside line. And the McLaren of Oliver Wolf spins out. They got caught in the tangle for the fight for P1. And they seem to be buried in the gravel, but no, they're going to get going, but in P12. As we see GP2 Engine being eventually overtaken by Riley. Oliver Wolf caught up in that debacle. And now Oliver Wolf will be making a recovery, hopefully, for them. As we see the Ferrari getting a bit of wheel spin, and that allows Josh to get a good exit. Could they force a move past? They're going to try their luck down the inside. No, they won't. They'll stick behind the Ferrari just for now. And we have got all drivers from Q1 to Q7 kind of forming a DRS train here. But will that DRS train last much longer? as we see Josh moving up to P3. It's a P3 and P4 for the Aston Martin team, but the Ferrari, will they have a chance? Down the outside of the Alfa Romeo. The Alfa Romeo opting for the inside line into turn 3. What will happen here as we have GL Toxic making a move into P4. They'll look to move past, but we've got Josh on the inside of the Alfa Romeo. Could they make it stick? They're gonna pick their braking spot perfectly, but the Alfa Romeo coming back at them. No! And we have a virtual safety car to slow things down, and we have got Josh right now currently in the lead, but that might all change things. If I was on those medium tyres, I would be coming into the pits right now. This is a great opportunity for everybody to come into the pits onto some hard tyres. Join us now from P20, moving up to P8. Absolutely lovely stuff from the Red Bull driver. And yes, we've got most people coming into the pits. Josh opting to stay out for the VSC, as I believe that this is the end of the VSC, is it? We've still got the VSC, and no, it is now the end of the VSC, and Josh has got a 5/10 gap lead across everyone else. And we have got GP2 engines following the Aston Martin closely into turn 3. Is DRS enabled just yet? Yes, it is. And GP2 engine will now back off, interestingly, allowing the Red Bull to go past, clearly making a statement there. And we've got GL Toxic now on the rear wing of Joshua Meister. What could happen here? Red Bull versus Aston Martin. GL Toxic looking to revive their P1, and they're already so close to the back of Aston Martin. Through turn 9 they both go. This is a fight for the lead, and both of them are opting to stay out. Pressing track limits through turn 10, and Josh, I assume, will be fighting this one. And through turn 1 they go now. The Red Bull getting a good exit as they got real spin out their exit, and that will affect their straight line speed. But they're still going to make a move down the inside into turn 3. And behind them we have the Aston Martin of Josh going quite wide there, I believe. And that doesn't get them the best getaway. But they're so close to the Aston Martin. No, they're close to the Red Bull in fact. And the Red Bull is going to squeeze them out wide. But Josh trying to switch back. And the Red Bull getting a bad getaway from turn 4. And that allows Josh to make a move round the outside. But it spins! And GL Toxic spins the Aston Martin of Josh out at turn 6. GL Toxic stuck their nose into a place it shouldn't belong. And that spins Josh out and down to P5 now. GL Toxic, a dirty move from them. They were clearly not going to make that move, but that didn't stop them from doing it. But now we've got the P1 fight evaluating. We've got Josh's teammate, King Cobra, with DRS now on the Ferrari. Down the second DRS straight we go, but we've got Jonas right behind on those hard tyres. They will be entering their peak. As we see the Red Bull tap in the back of the Ferrari to make a move past into P1. The Ferrari forced out wide. They drop to P3. But what could happen here? We've got the Aston Martin riding close to the Red Bull, but not close enough. And Jonas overtaking 2 cars in 1 corner. Lovely stuff, but they did force the Ferrari out wide, and I wonder if that will be a penalty coming their way. Punching the back of the Ferrari, I guess you would say. But we've got Marks now in the half. What should they do? As they look to make a move past the Alfa Romeo, they're very close. But the P3 GP2 engine, they fell from P1 and they're close to Aston Martin, but is it close enough to make a move as Josh comes into the pits? We've got marks now. Alfa Romeo won't have DRS and there's a sitting duck. Choose an attack from the Haas driver to easily make a move. And they don't even have to wait until a braking zone to figure that out. And now we've got all drivers on those new hard tyres. They're going to be benefiting from this. Someone who has benefited massively is the Jonas. I do believe they'll have to come into the pits again, but they'll look to do that under a safety car. So let's see how strategies play out. We've got Josh actually dropping to P14. Absolutely crazy stuff. One moment they were in P1 and now into P14 after being unfairly punted by the Red Bull driver of GL Toxic, who is still out on those old medium tyres. If this more so than anything, it's like how your race can change within a matter of a second. As we've got GP2 engine having a run down the inside of the Aston Martin into turn 3. They'll have the inside line. Aston Martin has more grip on the outside of turn 3. And the Ferrari will have DRS. Could they make another move on the Aston Martin? No, they can't. They're just too far back going into turn 4. As we see the McLaren and Alfa Romeo fighting each other through turn 4. We've got GP2 engine now fully coming into the pit. Yes, the Aston Martin and Ferrari coming into the pit lane now. And GL Toxic has a 3-second time penalty for corner cutting. Now it is a Red Bull 1-2 here at the Red Bull ring. We've got yellow flags as the Mercedes of Turkey goes off through sector 2, and we've got yellow flags there. I wonder if their pedals just disconnected there, but I'm sure we will find out the answer as Oliver Waltz goes a bit wide, and that leaves them vulnerable from an attack behind by their teammate of Fructose. And Oliver will not be fighting that one as we now have a VSC. This is a perfect chance for GL Toxic to stop, as well as maybe Bonus. So this is an amazing opportunity for the Red Bull team to stop now. And maybe we will see a double stack here, let's see. And we've got the top 3 coming into pit lane now. Marks interestingly on those 5-lap old hard tyres. Do they not believe those hard tyres are going to last until the end of the race, or what is it? They're going on to medium tyres in fact, so they clearly just want a bit more pace possibly, but will they last until the end of the race? I guess we will find out, yeah. We've got Jonas now on a brand new set of medium tyres. DRS is enabled now as we have the VSC restart. The McLaren awfully close to the Red Bull driver. The Red Bull driver will pull out some ERS. Is it enough to get past? No, they will be stuck behind that McLaren rear wing for a lap more. And we've got Jonas still riding closely with the McLaren. They've clearly got a lot of grip on those medium tyres. And could this mean that a force move past the McLaren? They'll have DRS, the McLaren won't. And could they make a move past? Down the pit straight we go now with both drivers. Into turn 1, Jonas looks to make a move and looks to have done it. Very easy from the Red Bull drivers there. As we've got Riley a bit tentative from turn 1, and Jonas will already have DRS on the Alfa Romeo driver going into turn 3, and we've got the McLaren coming back as a Red Bull now. and the McLaren moves themselves back up to P2, so they're clearly fighting that move. Although Jonas is on those newer tyres, they're still fighting it. We've got the McLaren off Fruity Coast running wide now. And this leaves them vulnerable to the Red Bull, who is trailing very closely behind the McLaren. And Willow's hard tyre runners currently on 7-lap old hards. The top two come into the pit. Let's see, we've got the Red Bull on the McLaren. Is it good enough to make an overtake? No, the McLaren outbraking the Red Bull and actually cutting turn 1 to get them a 3-second time penalty. But the McLaren will have a good run up to the outside of the Alfa Romeo. The Alfa Romeo will fight the overtake, but are they left defenseless as the McLaren tries a switch back that allows the Red Bull to go through as both of them meet their rear ends, and the Red Bull moving themselves up to P1. Two drivers overtaken in one corner. Lovely stuff from the Red Bull driver. And Fruity Coast also taking that opportunity to overtake Riley up to P2 themselves now, as we've got King Cobra. I saw them very closely to the Red Bull driver of GL Toxic. GL Toxic because their driving is very toxic. As we've got the Marks sending it down the inside of Aston Martin, banning rear wheels they are, but we've got GL Toxic driving very closely to I'm an Alpha. And they'll have DRS on the Mercedes. Should they make a move past into turn 1, they'll have to back off. They're not trying their luck. Not being risky. Oh, and they cut wide through turn 1. They go wide through turn 1, and that leaves them vulnerable and overtaken by the Aston Martin of King Cobra. The Red Bull tries to outbrake the Aston Martin, and they manage to stick it around the outside. We're going to be side by side going into turn 4. We've got the Red Bull on the outside, Aston Martin on the inside. We've got a slow Mercedes ahead, and the Red Bull having to go straight on to avoid hitting the back of the Mercedes, but they're still side by side. Aston Martin being forced out wide by the Red Bull, and that allows them to be overtaken by Marks as well on the inside. They're benefiting from all this fighting ahead of them. We've got the Red Bull trying to not give a slipstream to Marks, and Marks sending an audacious move down the inside of turn 9. And that was absolutely crazy moving from the Haas to make a move down the inside of GL Toxic. Both of them crashed as they meet their rear tyres, and they both spun out onto the grass and now fall to P9 and 11. And now we've got the fight for P8 evaluating, but ahead of them we have the fight for P5 as I'm an Alpha forced to be squeezed between the Ferrari and Aston Martin of King Cobra. We've got Joss now. Are they going to make a move down the inside of the Red Bull? No, the Red Bull outbraking them. We've seen what happened with them two, but ahead of them we have Oliver Waltz getting a better exit and going out wide, but the Haas of Marks closes the door shut very quickly to avoid making that move happen. And now we've got the Ferrari of GP2 engine making a move past the Mercedes, who is left defenseless along the pit straight. And now they might pull off another overtake onto Aston Martin this time of King Cobra. They've got DRS. Could they make a move into turn 3? Uphill we go. And the Aston Martin braking very early, and that allows the Mercedes of I'm an Alpha to go on the inside of the Ferrari, forcing the Ferrari out wide, but the Ferrari now comes back at the Mercedes for turn 4. And could this fight just to keep on going, as we've got I'm an Alpha on the inside. They've got a worse getaway than GP2 engine did. And now bonus up in P1, they're extending their gap to 4 seconds now. Seems to be very comfortable. And we've got DOS riding very closely to the Red Bull of GL Toxic. We've seen what could happen with these two. Could GL Toxic be toxic and spin out the Aston Martin again? We will see shortly, as it looks like DOS is lining up for an overtake. They're all gonna have DRS. As King Cobra moves themselves up to P4, overtaking on the second DRS straight, as we've got Riley riding closely with Fruity Coast. They're both on those 12 lap old hard tyres. Not that much grip on those. We've got GL Toxic now with a worse getaway than everyone else, and they remain in P10, but they're so close to the Haas, and the Haas forcing them out wide to set them up badly for turn 4, and they will not even have a chance as the Haas forces them out. But we've got the Red Bull of GL Toxic trying to stick it around the outside. They're still side by side in fact. But the Haas, they both go onto the gravel as the Haas tries to rejoin the track, forcing both of them on the gravel trap of turn 7. As the Red Bull was trying to stick it around the outside, it was not working for them, as they both get forced out wide and onto the gravel. This allows DOS to make a move fast, but who is making moves? It's the McLaren of Oliver, who makes the move past the Mercedes of I'm an Alpha, but is it good enough to make it stick? We've got DOS now spinning it at turn 1. That is yellow flags across sector 1 as DOS spins it. We've got the Red Bull and Haas still fighting each other, but up front we have Riley and Fruit Cove. But do we have Fruity Cove with a good getaway? They're going to still be side by side nearly through turn 5 and 6 and 7 now. Fruity Cove is going to get some DRS down the pit straight. Right, we've got Riley harvesting on the pit straight, trying to use up all their remaining DRS. They've only got 2%, and that is the case for both drivers, but Fruity Cove is going to go closer and closer to the Alfa Romeo, but is it good enough to pull a move off? Fruity Cove opting for some more DRS, but they've both got equal getaways. Is it good enough for Fruity Cove to close up on the Alfa Romeo? The Alfa Romeo is going to force them to the inside, and the McLaren seems to have got past for now, as they pick their braking spot perfectly, and Riley is a bit tentative through the exit of turn 4. And DOS coming into pits now to put on some new medium set tyres. They clearly have no grip on those old hard tyres, and they opted to pit again. And we've got Mark and GL Toxic riding very close to each other. We've seen what could happen here. Oh, we've got Marks now with a bad getaway from turn 9, nearly pushing it into the pit wall here. But they get away with it unscathed. Remaining in P10 for the Haas driver, we've got GT2 engine now very close to the Aston Martin. The Aston Martin can't fight that one into turn 3, but they will have DRS. And could they come back as a Ferrari driver now? Let's see, are they just a bit too far away? The Ferrari driver not trying to give the Aston Martin a slipstream, as the Aston Martin tries a switchback through turn 4, but just not enough grip to make that happen on those 10 lap old hard tyres for both drivers. We've got Marks now riding closely with the Red Bull. The Red Bull will not have any DRS, but the Haas will. And the Haas going a bit wide through turn 10, And you see that as they had a little bit of a spin. And we see Josh making a nice move past the inside of the Williams as we have a VSC to slow things down. And what has happened? I wonder, Samuel Blakely seems to be falling behind the pack. Was it them? I'm not quite sure myself, but we've got VSC now. Hopefully for bonus this doesn't turn into a full safety car. Joshua Meister now getting a 3-second time penalty and NMS also. I saw that popping up on my screen. And we've got time penalties all around for speeding under VSC, but King Cobra has got a good restart from the VSC and has managed to make a move past the inside of the Ferrari of GP2 engine. I'm an Alpha now. Another 5-second time penalty for them for speeding in the pit lane. We've got GP2 engine making a comeback as Aston Martin driver who is left defenseless without any DRS down the second DRS straight. We've got Fruticos now 7 seconds away from Jonas. Jonas seems to have pulled a good lead. We've got now GL Toxic making a move down the inside of Mark, but Mark still trying to remain on the inside as they run into the back of the Red Bull driver in fact, and the Red Bull driver has to concede P7, moving down to P8 now. What has happened between those two? And we've got GP2 engine now. They're looking to make a move past the Aston Martin of King Cobra. They're both on those 13 lap old hard tyres. They've both got DRS. The Aston Martin got DRS from a back marker. What could GP2 engine do now? As they look to dive bomb the Aston Martin down the inside, making a lunge for it and actually banning rear wheels with the Aston Martin, forcing them out wide through turn 3. But this is Aston Martin's chance to come back. No, they can't come back at this. And I will actually pull up the penalties now. We've got a triple B power now. As I say, getting a good getaway from turn 3 to make a move into turn 4 on the AlphaTauri of Scalania. And now they're looking to close that gap with I'm an Alpha as they got an 8-second time penalty altogether, so let's see what will happen. Still anything could happen here. We've got King Cobra now with DRS on the back of the Ferrari. They're going to make a move down the inside, and do they make it stick? Yes they do. But the Ferrari will come back now with some DRS. Doesn't get the best getaway though. And now it seems to be all quieting down more or less. We've got GP2 engine. They're looking to make a move past. We've got the Ferrari of GP2 engine now. Down the inside into turn 3. We've seen a lot of moves here. And they'll give Aston Martin their space. So not good enough to make a move, but they'll have a run down the inside of turn 4 maybe. And here we go, riding on board with GL. Oh my god! GL Toxic forces Marks into the wall on a straight. That is dirty driving from GL Toxic as they force the half into the wall of the approach into turn 4. And Marks now having to come into pit lane to fully replace that front wing after being punted into the wall by the Red Bull driver. And it all seems to be quieting down now, as we see the fight for P2 still going on. I think Riley will win that since they've got no penalties to serve at all, and GL Toxic, being a dirty driver, getting another 3-second time penalty, 9 seconds of time penalties. And we might as well clap this man out, because they are most definitely going to be banned after this race for being a very dirty driver. So GL Toxic, they might just not do anything, as we've got Joss in fact on the Williams, or is it the Williams on Joss? I'm not quite sure, but we've got Joss now coming into pits, but oh my god, what was that from Joss? Wow, they spun out at lecture of the pit lane, the entrance of the pit lane, I'm sorry, and I believe they wanted to go into pits, but wow. But we've got GP2 engine now, getting closer to the Aston Martin. And we've got the Ferrari now of GP2 engine with DRS. Could they make a move past Aston Martin? They're weaving on the straight here, trying to avoid that move. We've got GP2 engine, and it is the last lap in fact. It is the last lap, and we've got Jonas surely now. They're going to take the race win for Tier 2 in round 2. Here in Austria, they produced a dominant performance to come from P20 to win the race, and what a drive it was for the Red Bull driver of Jonas as they come across the line to win the Tier 2 Round 2 Grand Prix here in Austria. They produced an absolutely lovely drive, and that deserves a round of applause from the Red Bull driver, winning by 8 seconds. What a drive it was. And this must be the best performance of Tier 2 yet. Jonas coming from the back of the grid to win the race alongside Riley and King Cobra on the podium. They had their own little fight. And that is the end of the stream, and what a stream it has been. I think I've lost my voice about 5 times during this, so it has been absolutely crazy. I've been starting so much, and congratulations to the Red Bull driver winning their team home Grand Prix, I'd say, around the Red Bull ring. So very nice from the Red Bull driver, and that is me over, and I will be going, and yeah, good night.